All right, hello people. So today I wanted to go over the notes from August 30th and the 31st. These were our solving compound inequalities notes, and we're basically just going to talk about these top two right here, where we're solving and inequalities and then solving or inequalities. We're just kind of going to skip over that part. All right, so let's take a look at what we have inside. So our first three problems at the top here are going to be talking about solving and inequalities. Now, these are going to be very similar to solving our regular inequalities. The only difference is that now we have two pieces to worry about. So let's take a look. Solve negative 2y is greater than or equal to negative 8, and y plus 3 is greater than 2. Okay, so we have two problems here. What we're going to do is solve one at a time, just as we always do. All right, so drawing my line right where my inequality is. So I want to find y. That means I need to get it by itself. I need to get rid of this negative 2 here. So I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. Gets rid of that. So we have y is greater than or equal to negative 8 divided by negative 2. That is going to give me a positive 4. All right. First one done. Let's take a look at the second problem. Y plus 3 is greater than 2. Okay? Let me draw my line where my inequality is. And then we need to get y by itself. So I have plus 3 here. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides to get rid of that. So 3 minus 3 is going to give us a 0. So we have y is greater than 2 minus 3. That's going to be negative 1. Boom. Okay. So that's what I mean by saying we have two parts instead of one. So let's put this on our number line. We're going to start with the smallest number first. So that's going to be negative 1. And I'll put our other one on here too. All right, I see negative 1. I'm looking at the sign here. It is greater than, and it doesn't have the line underneath it. So I'm going to have an open circle, and I'm just going to write a note to myself that it's going this way. All right, so let's take a look at the other one. We have 4. Y is greater than 4. Oh, ooh, Miss Fields, goodness gracious. I missed that. I forgot to switch my sign. My bad. So, we divided by a negative here, and I forgot to change my sign. Good job, me. Okay, so we have y is less than or equal to 4. So I am going to put a circle at 4. I'm going to fill it in, and then I'm going to show that we are going this way. All right, so I have my negative 1 going this way, and then our 4 is going this way. So what we're going to do for our graph is fill in the middle. Since they're both pointing towards each other, they are going to meet in the middle here. So this shows that y is less than or equal to 4, and y is greater than negative 1. So it falls between these two numbers here. And that is going to be about it for that one. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. All right, this looks a little bit different, but it's still going to be an and compound inequality. So you'll notice we have more than one inequality sign here. We have one here and one here. We're still going to follow the same rules as we have been. I'm going to draw my line right here. I still want to get x by itself, but now instead of 2 sides, we now have 3 sides to worry about, and that'll be okay. So let's try this. I want to get x by itself. So that means I'm going to only focus on the middle part here. This middle part is the only section that we're going to start taking and canceling from. So I have x in here plus 2. All right, so let's get rid of the 2. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, so when we do that, 2 minus 2 is going to cancel out. I've got negative 3 minus 2, so that's going to give us a negative 5. X is still left in the middle, and then 5 minus 2. So here is that difference. You want to subtract from all of the sides instead of just the 2 that you have. Now you have 3, so you have to do it 3 times. Okay, so I got x alone, so that is going to be my answer for this problem. Negative 5 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3. So once again, for our number line, we're going to start with the smaller number first. That's going to be negative 5. And then our bigger number, which is 3. Okay, so I'm looking at my signs here, and I see that we have that or equal to line beneath them, so I'm going to fill in my circles. Okay, and then I see that x is between these two numbers, just like that other one that we did. So I'm going to fill in the middle here. X is in the middle of those two numbers, so that is why we are filling this part in. This shows that all of our x's are going to lie between these two numbers. Okay. All right, let's try a tougher one. Same premise, though. We have 2 inequality symbols. All right, I got 2 lines. That means 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces. Okay. I still want to get my variable by itself. For us, it's going to be m. All right, so I'm mainly going to be focused on this center part here. This is the only part where I want to start canceling stuff from. Okay, so I see a set of parentheses here. That makes me think that I automatically need to distribute. Okay, so negative 2 times m is going to be negative 2m. Negative 2 times negative 1 is going to be a positive 2. And then everything else on the sides is just going to stay the same. I haven't touched those at all yet. I was just focusing on distributing. So those are just going to come straight down to our new problem. All right, so let's start canceling. Like I said before, I want m by itself. So I'm just going to do like we normally do. I'm going to add or subtract first. So we have plus 2 over here. So I'm going to subtract 2. All right. 2 minus 2 is going to give us a 0, so that's gone. We have negative 8 minus 2, so that's going to be negative 10. I still have negative 2m in the middle. And then 6 minus 2 is going to be 4. All right, my signs are going to stay the same. Okay, so now I still want m by itself, so I'm going to divide by negative 2 on every side so that we can do that. These are going to disappear. So we're left with m. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 5. 4 divided by negative 2 is going to be negative 2. And then, caught it this time, we divided by a negative across all 3 pieces. So because of that, we're going to have to change our signs. We're going to have to flip them to go the other way. And that is going to be my answer. Okay, just like the last one, I'm going to start with the smallest number first. That's going to be negative 2. And then we have 5. All right, I'm looking at my signs here. I don't see that or equal to line beneath them, so I am going to put open circles. And then our m is between these 2 numbers, so I'm just going to fill in the space between our 2 numbers on the number line. M is in the middle, so we're going to fill in the middle here. All right. So that is going to be about it for our and compound inequalities. But we still have our or compound inequalities. So let's take a look at the next few problems for that. Let's start with number 4. All right, so this is going to be really similar to that first and inequality we did, where it has the word between it, and we have 2 different problems. That's basically what all of our or inequalities are going to look like. So we got 3p plus 1 is less than 10, or p over 2 is greater than 4. So let's start with our first problem. All right, we got 3p plus 1. So I want p by itself. So I'm going to get rid of that 1 first because it's being added. So minus 1 to both sides. All right, 1 minus 1 is going to give us a 0, so that's gone. So we're left with 3p is less than 10 minus 1 is going to be 9. All right, still want p by itself. It's being multiplied by 3, so I'm going to do the opposite and divide by 3 to get rid of it. Okay, so we got p is less than 9 divided by 3. Well, that's just 3. And that's our first answer. Okay, then we have our or. We're going to take a look at the next one. So we have p over 2. Okay, so let me draw my line. Remember, this fraction bar is the same thing as a division symbol. So we have p divided by 2. To get rid of the 2, we're going to do the opposite and multiply by 2. That is going to get rid of this one. So we're left with p is greater than 4 times 2. That's 8. And that's our second answer. Okay, same as before. I'm going to start with my smaller number first. We got 3 and then 8. Then let's take a look at these signs. So p is going to be less than 3. Okay, so that means it's going to go in this direction, and we're going to have an open circle. Then we have p is greater than 8. Okay, so it's going to go in this direction, and it's also going to have an open circle. All right, so this problem is telling me that we are going to go in opposite directions. So I am going to fill in the opposite sides of our graph. Now, every or inequality is going to look like this. This says that p is less than 3 or p is greater than 8. Instead of meeting in the middle like the ands did, these are going to go in opposite directions. These cannot touch each other because it's or. It's one or the other. It cannot be both. So that's why it's going to look like this. Okay, let's try a tougher one. Let's take a look at number 5. All right, so we have 5x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 8, or negative 3 times the quantity of x plus 4 is greater than 9. So we got 2 problems here. All right, let's draw our line for the first one and start solving. 5x minus 2. Okay, I want to get rid of that minus 2 first because it's being subtracted. I'm going to do the opposite and add 2 to both sides. Negative 2 plus 2 is just going to be 0. So we got 5x is greater than or equal to 8 plus 2. That's 10. Cool. All right, still want x by itself, so I have 5 times x here. I'm going to divide by 5. Those are gone. So we have x is greater than or equal to 10 divided by 5. That's 2. Cool. First answer. All right, so let's take a look at the next problem. I see parentheses, so I know that I'm going to have to distribute first. So I'm going to multiply everything inside those parentheses by negative 3. So we got negative 3 times x, it's negative 3x. And negative 3 times positive 4 is going to give me a negative 12. All right, I forgot to draw my line. Not bad. But our sign is going to stay the same, and that other side is going to stay the same because we haven't touched it yet. We haven't started canceling. We just distributed. Okay, so let's see. We have negative or minus 12 here. So to get rid of that, I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Okay. Negative 12 plus 12 is going to be 0. So we got negative 3x is greater than 9 plus 12. That is 21. All right, still on x alone. So I see a negative 3. I'm going to divide by negative 3 to get rid of it. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do the other. So I've got x, and I got a negative 7 over here. And just a reminder, we just divided by a negative number. So I'm going to have to switch my sign to be less than. And that is our second answer. All right, number line time. I'm going to start with my smallest number, negative 7. 2 goes over here. All right, so I see the 2 has a greater than or equal to. So I'm going to put my circle there, and I'm going to fill it in. And then I see our negative 7 has a less than, just a less than. So I'm going to put an open circle. All right, so x is greater than or equal to 2. So if it's greater than, that's going to go in this direction. And then x is less than negative 7. So if it's less than, it's going to go in this direction. All right, so that's telling me I'm going to fill in these opposite sides here. Just like that. Okay, now I have my graph. Alrighty, so we ended up skipping number 6 in a few classes, so I'm not going to go over that here. It's just another one that looks very similar. We've done these a bunch of times before, but let me know if you have questions about these. Like I said before, we skipped this bottom part, so don't even worry about that. We are not worried about that today. All right, so like I said, let me know if you have any questions once you get back or, whatever. Okay. All right, bye, y'all.